Hi there, it's Leslie, and welcome to Ageless Tips for Longevity of Your Body. Now, if you think about it, we spend a lot of time in this position, right? In this position, we are really in a shortened position of the hips. We're in hip flexion. So we're shortening up those hip flexors and essentially compressing the glutes. So this one is about lengthening those hip flexors, not to mention when we're laying on our back and we're doing all this stuff, our core is actually being switched on around 11% and a huge percentage of hip flexors. So people always say to me, "Oh, I want to work my lower abs. It's really burning right here." Yeah, well, that's not good. And when you think about if your hip flexors are tight, it affects the whole entire, again, kinetic chain. It can affect low back problems. It can most definitely affect your knees, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes the way that we're training is really quite dysfunctional. But if you're one of those people that, that you do spend some time sitting over your computer, et cetera, this is really simple. You can use your chair. You want to push it up against a wall or a hard surface. And just begin by placing one of your feet, this time it's going to be my left foot, the arch on the chair. Now, what you want to make sure of is the back foot is parallel and it's not externally rotated. I'm externally rotated, I'm going to shorten up my glutes, and I don't want to do that. I actually want to lengthen those guys. So as I press forward in this knee, I'm going to start to feel a lengthening sensation in my right hip. Now, I can start by just reaching my right arm to the ceiling and feel a difference. So you might just drop the arm and then lift the arm and feel the difference. Well, now we're talking to our fascia. So by lifting both arms and just slightly bending that front knee, your left knee, bend. So what you want to be careful of, you're not arching your back, you're simply reaching upwards. Now, as you reach upwards, you're going to feel a nice big happening here. So you can also grab onto your wrist and do a little side bend here, really gently press into that right hip. Nothing major, do a few of those, and then start to circle the hips around a little bit. So you're just kind of moving that hip around, you're moving the femur and the hip joint in another plane of motion. And then do that for a moment and then walk around. Even just doing that for less than 60 seconds, I feel a huge difference between my right and left side. Start doing that. You know, you find yourself sitting and we catch ourselves doing this, we'll be sitting for like an hour or so, and we're just like, and then you go to get up and you're like, oh, I'm so stiff. Try just doing that. It's a very simple technique, only takes a few moments to do. And you don't want to arch that back, you don't drive through the hip hard, but just enough that you feel a difference between the right and left side in such a short amount of time. And once again, I think a lot of our training, what we do is we spend so much time shortening our hip flexors and not lengthening. And that's why so many people have so many dysfunctions in their bodies. And also depending on, some of the activities that you do, you want responsive, strong hip flexors, but you don't want them short and tight. This is Leslie. And again, this is just an ageless tip for longevity of your body, mind, and spirit. And we'll see you soon.